Hello, Mr. Hamer, and welcome to Computer Science Chats. How are you?
I'm well. Good to visit
Uh,
with you.
yeah, thank you. So I have several questions to ask you. First, could you please introduce yourself and your educational and career background?
Yeah, I'll give you just a real snapshot of my background first. I was born and raised on a small row crop and livestock farm in North Mississippi, and so a keen interest in agriculture, which led me to majoring in agriculture at Tennessee State University. Basically, rural development. I was introduced to statistics to the agency by my statistics professor who was there recruiting for the National Ag Statistics Service in hopes of diversifying the staff. They needed more minority individuals involved. So my joint love for agriculture and statistics came together working for this organization. I had a chance. I'm a real strong component of internships. I had a chance to do an internship with NASS, and that really kind of paved the way. I really liked the organization, had a chance to digest some of the work that was happening. So that really created a great opportunity for me. In addition to that, I've been able to take advantage of many other developmental opportunities. I was at Harvard University's Kennedy School of Government for their Leaders in Government program, two executive leadership programs with NASS, the Executive Potential Program, and the Senior Executive Career Development Program, which provided a lot of background executive level experience. So I grew up in the organization here at NASS, have worked all over the country in different aspects, different locations. So it's really been a good fit for me for my personal background. Wanted to stay involved in agriculture, but our farm was very small, and it gave me an opportunity to do that working with NASS.
Thank you very much. So what is it that sort of started your interest in statistics and data science?
Again, got introduced through a professor, and then once you come up into the organization, you deal with a lot of data and opportunities to display data, to analyze data, and so it kind of marries the statistician and the IT side of agriculture of the business. So working within those two disciplines really kind of charts the way for that.
That's very interesting. So could you go over some of the activities that you do as the head of NAS or even before?
Yeah, glad to talk a little bit about it. When you move up into the higher end of the organization, one of the things it takes you away from, if you really like data and the analysis and some of those getting your hands dirty and getting close to the data, which I enjoy that, but I do a few other activities that are equally beneficial and enjoyable for me. Number one, I'm the spokesperson for the organization. I have a chance to speak with a lot of different organizations, individuals, groups about what we do, our mission, and how we achieve that mission. I work very closely on our budget formulation and budget execution, collaborating with a lot of different individuals within the Department of Agriculture, external producer groups and organizations. So a lot of activity. I wanted to say one other thing when you mentioned that. I wanted to say a couple of things about the mission of our organization. NASS is the data collection arm for USDA. And our mission is to provide timely, accurate, and useful statistics and service to U.S. agriculture. So we do that by disseminating about 450 reports on an annual basis on all different aspects of U.S. agriculture: crops, livestock, economic, and environmental statistics. And then we also conduct the 5-year census of agriculture every 5th year. So just wanted to get that out there, a little bit more background on what we're doing as an organization.
Thank you. So you went over a bit about how the roles change as you transition to more of a leadership role as a top administrator, but what skills become more important as you reach that higher level?
Obviously, you still need to maintain analytical skills and be very familiar with the data because you find yourself defending your numbers and your program. But a couple of skills that I think are very, very important is to be a very strong writer and have good oral communication skills, because you're going to find yourself, again, it's all about people. The interaction, if you're able to make them comfortable, whether you're recruiting or whether you are just collaborating with other organizations and individuals. Those skill sets are very, very important as you move up the ladder and work with different groups and different organizations.
Thank you very much. So, what do you like most and what do you find most challenging about your current role?
What I like most is the people aspect of it, working with our staff, making sure that we create opportunities for them to grow and develop, to be able to set their own course, to achieve the level of success that they're able to work for with a strong work ethic, that you have the type based on the skill sets that you have. So working with staff, developing staff, trying to create a roadmap for them to be successful, and working with other organizations and groups. As I've mentioned, a big part of my job is interacting with other entities and organizations, from our political infrastructure within the Department of Agriculture, and working with those leaders, congressional leadership, university personnel and programs. So there are a lot of opportunities to share the word about what we do in our small corner in agriculture, and especially agricultural statistics.
That's very interesting. So, I know you mentioned that you've been part of NASS for a while, so since college, basically. How have you seen that agriculture statistics have changed with increased access to technology and also like the more advanced integration of data science methods?
One of the biggest change I've seen in our organization is the automation of the process. When I came in, there were very, very few computers, personal computers, laptops, and all of those other devices. So introducing technology to that process, and basically what you've seen, we have a lot fewer staff because we rely on technology to do the heavy lifting, the number crunching, and having that capability has changed internally how we measure agriculture. But when you look at agriculture from a global perspective, the productivity increases we've seen by the very productive American farmer. They're producing commodities and goods and services, food, fuel, and fiber for world population that's over 8 billion. So not only do we provide a lot for the U.S. population, but we're helping to provide these goods and services around the world.
Thank you. So, what are the biggest challenges facing the federal government in terms of statistics and tracking data?
Well, I say some of the challenge that we're facing is that we've seen a decline in our response rates to surveys. Overall, I think some distrust with federal institutions and programs. So we're working very hard always with our farmers and ranchers to try to show them the value of having these data, how the data not only help them, but their communities make economic decisions that drive their operations and try to make sure that they're profitable. To be sustainable, you have to have profitability. So we're just seeing some of those headwinds. The other area that obviously we need more resources always to, what we're trying to do is improve our information technology infrastructure to be able to process more data, to show that data in different ways, to different visualization tools, moving more to cloud-based computing, away from some of our legacy systems that are a little bit troublesome when you connect those to newer technology, and then when you consider some of the cybersecurity issues that are always facing those who are online, on the internet, or using these types of tools and technology.
That's very interesting. So I read that the Department of Agriculture has recently released the crop sequence boundaries, which is a public access tool that includes geospatial data that allows one to visualize crop rotations at the national scale. I know you mentioned the advent of cloud computing, but as more and more data are being collected, how can we take steps towards developing methods to process, analyze, and use it all?
That's a great question. What we see is these are publicly financed data, and we need to do everything we can to ensure that it has the broadest utility, and that decision makers are making decisions based on the latest, most up-to-date information. We've got to figure out how to not only collect that data, curate that data, analyze that data, and put it in forms that are very, very user-friendly for not only the power users, but for the novice user. So that they're able to use the information. It's an equity issue that to make sure that wherever you're at on that spectrum of data user, you should be able to use that data and not have to reformulate it or repackage it or pay someone to do that for you. So we're excited about some of the opportunities to improve that process and make it better for our data users. We always want to think about the end user, our customers, when we develop systems and processes.
Yeah, so I know that having a diverse workforce in data science and statistics is especially important in ensuring like the products, so that means the methods and data, don't expose biases and are really beneficial to society in a broad and equitable fashion. So how does your office's work support the diversification of the workforce?
Well, one of the ways that we do that, we start with a very diverse executive leadership team that leads the organization. And I'm very proud at NASS that we have that in place right now, a very diverse leadership team. We have partnerships and arrangements with very diverse colleges and universities. We offer scholarship programs. We engage in the minority communities to make sure that we're able to attract talented employees that look like the makeup of America. And that's something that we're very proud of in the organization. We have a very strong civil rights group that monitors our statistics. We always say if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. So we're always looking at the numbers to see which areas we need to improve in so that we can target our recruiting to those populations to ensure that we're getting people into position. But not only from a racial diversity perspective, but also from individuals that might have disabilities. We want to make sure that they're included in the organization, their jobs and work that they can do very, very effectively. So we want to include people with disabilities and some other challenges in the workforce.
Thank you. So we just talked a bit about how organizations like NASS can improve diversity, but how can I, as a high school student and an individual interested in data science, help in advocating for a more diverse and inclusive field?
I think working with your peers and talking about the tremendous opportunities that there are available in STEM opportunities in the federal government, in the private sector. Your generation, you really have unique ways to communicate very quickly with social media and all of the other tools and ways that. So hearing that message come from peers is even more powerful than coming from someone like me. We can share information, but when they hear it from you that you've interacted with NASS, with some of the staff, with the data, and talk about how you perceive career opportunities, that goes a long way. And hopefully you have a very diverse network of friends and students that you interact with. So that would be very helpful for you to share what you know about your collaboration with NASS as well.
Yeah, thank you. That's very helpful. So, what advice would you have for high school students who would like to pursue a career in data science and statistics?
I would say there are boundless opportunities. I work in one agency in the federal statistical system. There are 13 principal statistical agencies and other statistical units in the federal government. I'm not even talking about any of the university communities or private sector opportunities. Let's just focus on the federal sector right now. We have tremendous opportunities to work and serve, be a public servant, give something back to your communities, and then have a great career option where you get to paid for doing something that you love, working with data, working with technology. Very, very strong connection there.
Yeah, thank you so much. So, as a final question, and this is always the toughest one, where do you see statistics and data science in the future as support tools for agriculture?
I see it as being central to having a platform where we can uh, process multitudes of data. I talked about moving more into the cloud environment that gives you computational power that we don't have in some of our legacy systems. So I just think that these are going to be central for data users, and this information is very, very important. And having these tools and technologies in place to share that information with decision makers, I think is very, very important.
Yeah, thank you very much for meeting with me and for being willing to do this interview.
Thank you. And Victor, remember this, we're always recruiting, and we like to start early with talented individuals like you and some of the other students that you work very closely with. So enjoy your day. We've enjoyed having some time to spend with you.
Yeah, thank you so much.